build up this corner ramp system where we're going to use concrete block. Using our plastic packers, we have to cut the entire back out of this block. So a notch cut in here. With everything washed clean, we gently add mortar into the hollow part of the blocks. So we're keeping the gravel and the dirt separate.
Close the door and leave the light on. The morning light should be coming soon. Kick off your shoes and leave the winter and the pain it brings to you. Lay your head upon my shoulder. Shut off your thoughts and clear your mind.
The next stage in this project is going to be to build up this corner ramp system where we're going to use concrete block. To build this small wall, we're using a standard concrete hollow block. It's 190 by 190 by 390. These hollow blocks will fit right over the top of the rebar that we set in our foundation. And the foundation height is set slightly under what we need, so we'll be using packers to get the blocks at exactly the right height. We start by doing a rough layout and checking with our level that everything lines up as it should. Using our plastic packers, we adjust the block till we get it to exactly the right height.
Another hot summer night, sitting back in the light, trying to find the words to describe something I can't find.
By swapping out different combinations of Packness thickers, eventually we get it to the height that we need.
I haven't fallen far from you. I'm so much closer than I was to you before this time.
Now that I've roughed out the layout for these blocks, there's a few cuts we need to make. We want to put cuts in here so the rebar can lay through, so we're going to do a bit of chopping up so these all fit together like a big Lego set. We have to cut the entire back out of this block because this block will be joining to the other part of the concrete foundation. We want the concrete to be able to adhere to it in a really strong way.
Trying to find the words to describe.
This is the block. It's back cut out. A notch cut in here and a notch cut in there. The slots we've cut in this block is for the horizontal rebar, which is part of the engineering strength of this system. All the blocks will get notches cut in them, so the rebar will tie the entire wall together. We're using our small grinder with a diamond tip blade to make these cuts. The idea is to cut a square notch out and then add a V cut so the rebar can sit deeply inside this block when we pour concrete into it later. The corner blocks also need notches cut in the side of them so the rebar can join in the corners.
Someday I can see. Maybe it's time to see the truth. I haven't fallen far from you. I'm so much closer than I was to you.
As we finish the cutouts for each block, we return it to its original position so we don't lose track of our configuration. With all the blocks cut and returned to their original positions, we wash everything down to make sure it's nice and clean for when we cement these blocks in later. With everything washed clean, we set our blocks with our packers to the right height. As we set each block with our packers, we double check with our level to make sure we're getting everything to the right height. The top of these blocks is supposed to match the foundation that runs along the fence line. We take our time with this process as it can be quite fiddly, changing the packers in and out to get everything exactly to the right height.
Trying to find the words to describe.
With all the blocks adjusted to the right height and with 10mm gaps between them, we add our mortar.
To see the truth, I haven't fallen far from you.
We gently add mortar into the hollow part of the blocks until the mortar starts to come out from the bottom.
For this time,
We just keep agitating the mortar with our trowel until the mortar comes out the bottom of the blocks in between the packers. Once we've got enough cement on the bottom of these blocks to hold them in place, we fill in the gaps between the blocks. We just keep adding mortar in between these 10mm gaps between the blocks until we get it filled all the way to the top.
set my candlelight.
We just repeat this process for all the blocks in this wall. Once our mortar's all set and solid, it's time to remove all the packers. We're going to pull out our packers with these pliers.
I haven't fallen far from you. I'm so much closer than I was to you before this time.
We just go around the entire wall and remove all the packers we can.
Can you say to me, can you see and can you feel? Can you show me why you believe in?
With our block wall complete, we move on to the other parts of this foundation system. The first thing we're going to have to do is remove this dirt to make room for the foundation we're going to need for the rest of this ramp. Before I go any further, I'm going to have to stabilize this temporary step so we've got a safe place to remove all this dirt.
Before this time,
I had to set this plywood up because there's rebar sticking up through the concrete here and my rake would get tangled up with it, moving this gravel in this void.
There's a lot of gravel in that dirt, so I'm using it to backfill under our platform, this big void we have over here.
The part of the yard we're excavating right now has a mixture of good quality gravel and also dirt fill. So we're keeping the gravel and the dirt separate. As I come across a good pocket of gravel, I'm raking it into this void. After raking off all the gravel, we chip away at the dirt with our mattock and spade.
another hot summer night.
We take our time digging this soil out because we want to be able to use the dirt as part of our formwork for these foundations, so we don't want to over dig and have to fill it with timber forms or more gravel later. We're just dumping our dirt in the same place we've been dumping all the excavated dirt in this project.
I haven't fallen far from you. I'm so much closer than I was to you.
As there wasn't a lot of dirt to remove from this particular place, we're using the tubs instead of the wheelbarrow to get the dirt over to the dumping ground.
Before this time,
When we've removed enough dirt and clay, we expose more gravel and rake that into our void. We just continue to smooth out this gravel as we come across it. We pack it down just by walking on it, because later this will be part of the structure of this whole corner ramp system. Now that we've excavated enough dirt in this section, we move up to the next section. I'm just using a few timbers to cover the rebar that's in the concrete for our own safety.
maybe it's time to see the truth. I haven't fallen far from you.
We just chip away carefully with our mattock. As like before, we're trying to use some of these dirt walls as our forms for the next concrete pour, so we don't want to over dig our holes.
Before this time,
We use our spade to get a really sharp angle on our cuts.
Can you see and can you feel? Can you show me why you believe in?
We keep smoothing it out best we can as we remove more soil.
Maybe it's time to see the truth.
Now that our excavation is all flat and trim, it's time to check things with a level and a tape measure to see what our next part will be. The level here matches where the beginning of the ramp will be starting, and the angle of the level here represents roughly what the angle of the ramp will be. We continue to check with our level and tape measure to make sure we're digging in the right direction, as this is quite a complicated system to prepare the form for. The general idea of this excavation is to dig dirt steps into this hillside so we can pour concrete in to create a foundation system for this ramp.
Another hot summer night, sitting back in the light.
It made sense for us to have the foundation poured on the lower level before we did the excavation up on this hill, as the concrete on the lower level is helping to hold together this whole hill system. We continue to double check with our tape measure to make sure we're not going to dig too much. As we successfully excavate each step to the right height, we just move on to the next step above it.
Before this time,
Here I'm using the level to make a mark with my spade to keep everything at the right level.
before this time, before this time.
We continue to use our level to make sure we're getting these steps to the right height. We're continuing to be very careful with our mattock and shovel so we don't over dig this dirt.
Sitting back in the light.
This is the last step we need to dig out to prepare for the formwork for the concrete for this ramp system.
Someday I can find.
We just have one final check with our level to make sure everything's at the right height.
Falling far from you.
Now that we've successfully cut a dirt step into this hillside, it's ready for us to build our formwork. Join us in the next episode as we build the formwork for the concrete foundation of this ramp.
Can you say to me?
Building it so you can deconstruct it later.
Can you see and can you feel?
Outside perimeter.
Can you show me why you believe in?
Thanks for joining me this week in my YouTube channel. Check the link below, and while you're at it, hit the subscribe button or make a comment so I can help you with your future construction solutions. And don't forget to follow our channel for more ideas and how-to tips for home and garden projects.